hard to choose something. Okay, so welcome to the healing power of the Akashic Realm, creating with power and joy. This is it's going to be a fun class. It needs to be, because this is class 4, and we are going to be talking about creating what we don't want. So we do not want to accidentally create anything that we don't want. So we are definitely going to be having some fun tonight. Let's see, what else am I doing tonight?
Oh, Robin is here. Yay!
Yay! Look, if we wait long enough, everybody will join us. So tonight's class, Creating What I Don't Want. And we have an incredible quote tonight. I love that Lily is willing to spend the time to go and find quotes that are really appropriate for what we talk about. And tonight's quote is, "You draw to yourself whatever is in your energetic field. You get to decide what to put there." And that's by a really famous person named Terry Hagar. We have no idea who he is. But
for all we know, it could be a woman.
It could be, that's true, it could be a woman. But if anybody knows who it is, feel free to pop in and let us know that. But here's what's really cool about the quote. I'm going to repeat it again for you. You draw to yourself whatever is in your energetic field. You get to decide what you put there. So you're automatically bringing to you whatever is out there. But the really awesome part of that is you absolutely get to decide. And for some of us, that's kind of monumental for us to start to understand, like, I have a say in that. I actually have some control over what I put out there. And so it's going to be a really fun evening of us talking about the things that we don't want and how to uncover those and have some more awareness around that, so that we're not letting those things get in the way. So once you have some awareness that there are some things you don't want, you go and look for how you're creating them, and you can stop those habits that you're doing to create them, and then you get to move on with power and joy, and certainly grace, because grace is definitely coming up tonight. The key phrase for tonight is the quantum field. We are definitely going to be talking about that. Hope you guys are ready for some fun conversation around that. And with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to you, Lily, so you can clear the field and we can start having some conversation around this, because this is going to be really fun.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bonnie. So we're going to begin by doing some centering and helping us all to get a little grounded and kind of take everything that's been happening over the weekend, there's been some very powerful cosmic energies coming through. This past new moon was extremely powerful. So many people that I know about in our community have been experiencing headaches and all kinds of physical discomfort, and it's really just from the major frequencies coming through for us, and they're all very healing. And as we keep talking about, when we let light in, we're going to, of course, see more of those low frequencies coming up to the surface to be cleared. So it's really important to be able to focus on all that. So let's just take right now everything that we've been experiencing, and especially whatever has been uncomfortable, whatever has been in any way feeling like a release, feeling like something that we're letting go, feeling in any way heavy, in any way that's been bothering us. And then let's all also focus on what has been beauty, what has been love, what has been joy coming into our life, and let's let more of that in. And let's all begin by centering ourselves in our heart, and as we create a circle of light, casting around us, specifying that only our masters, teachers, and loved ones, the angelic realm, the ascended masters, source, creator, God, be present for this beautiful class 4 of raising this healing power of the Akashic realm. We are so much in our power, so much in the space for creating with power and joy, and that's what this class is about. We're going to be looking at what and focusing on what we're doing to create what we don't want, because the more we know what we don't want, the more we get clear about how to create what we do want, and we connect more with our power. So as we cast this circle of light and ask Source, Creator, God, and the angelic realm, and all of the ascended masters, and especially those that are in our Akashic records, because we are beginning to be more and more masters of reading our Akashic records and connecting with that truth, that part of us that connects us with our truth and with the entire realm of where our wisdom comes from. So as we cast a circle of light, let's connect with our heart center. Let's take a deep breath into our heart. Let's imagine that we are connected with the center, the core of the earth, receiving and allowing Mother Earth to gift us with her ability to nourish us and bring in the frequencies of love and creation into our physical bodies for healing. And then connecting also with the central sun and with the galactic heartbeat, bringing in white gold light, beautiful, brilliant white gold light coming in through our upper chakras into the crown of our head and connecting in our heart. As Mother Earth's emerald green light joins us, allowing this beautiful heartbeat to circulate through our entire body. Knowing that we are powerful creators, powerful beings of light here as divinity in form to shine light into this planet, onto this planet. Feeling one with all of us, connecting in unity, knowing that we are one, and really dissolving the illusion of separation for us all, bringing in more love, bringing in more joy. And let's take a couple of deep breaths into our heart once again. Grounding ever more. And I'm feeling a couple of downloads coming in through us, for us, helping us to clear our channels so that we can connect more and more with our truth, and helping us to see beyond what our eyes can see, to feel beyond what our physical bodies can feel, hear beyond what our physical ears can hear, and know beyond what our mind, what our soul can actually see in this physical realm, knowing through our clear cognizance. Thank you. All right. So we're holding the space for everyone on this call in this beautiful class 4 of the healing power of the Akashic realm. We're already on class 4, creating what I don't want, connecting with that so that we can connect more with what we do want, being very cognizant, clear cognizant of what we do want and being intentional with that. So we're holding the space for all of us to be here in this moment, connecting with our truth, and then reminding everyone to have some conscious breathing. Breathe throughout this session so that you can receive the life force, receive Source, Creator, God coming through for us, and all the wisdom and knowledge and healing that's here for us today. We're so blessed to be here together and joined right here in what we have in common, which is the beautiful energy that we're bringing in for our own healing and our own movement in this journey that we are on together. So thank you everyone for being here. Bonnie and I are just so full of love for all of you, and really is a blessing for us all to be here together.
So, Lily, that was obviously part of the download of information and the healing that came in, because just before you said that, I was like, I think I'm going to tell them how much I love them. I think I'm going to tell them that I love being here with them. And I'm just like, in my head doing my normal thing. That's really weird for you to say, Bonnie. Why on earth would you be saying something like that? Just because you feel it doesn't mean you're going to say it. So you just turned around and said it. And I'm like, that's what was in that information that came down. Yeah. So I absolutely do feel that way. And I really do love that the more work I do with this, the more that I find myself shifting and changing and turning into that person who I thought would never say something like, I really love you guys and I love spending time with you on Sunday evenings. So our intention tonight is of course, to further build your confidence in reading the Akashic Records. And I think all of you that are here are doing a fabulous job with all of that. So kudos to you. But we also want to bring a lot more awareness to when we are creating things that we don't want. And the more I think about that, the more I realize that is a really powerful statement to say, I want to come into more awareness of where I am creating things that I don't want. Because, it's easy for all of us to say, oh, this is what I want to create this, and I want to do this, and I want to have that, and have a new job, and all of those kinds of things. But to me, there's more power, and it's almost like more maturity that comes in when you are willing to take a look at the things that you are doing to prevent yourself from having those things. Because it is not an easy task to sit down and say, all right, almost like, where am I screwing up? Where am I doing things that I'm not supposed to be doing? But we don't look at it from that point of view, because we understand that it's not a screw up, that it's not a mistake, that it's exactly as it's supposed to be, but it's a new awareness for us. So, congratulations to all of you who are willing to do that. And of course, we're going to be talking about the quantum field and how the quantum field is always listening. As a reminder, although I think you all have probably heard it at least 10 times from Lily and I before, the quantum field, we have a quantum field in our bodies, our internal quantum field, but there's also a quantum field that is out in the world. And to me, it kind of shows up like air, although I always refer to it like it's this wall right in front of me. But it's that quantum field that is listening and paying attention to what we put in it. And it is always responding and connecting with what we are creating. And it's a really neutral place. So it doesn't matter whether we are, creating for good or creating for bad. It doesn't matter, what that is. So we're definitely going to take a look at it. But I do want to open up the floor, so to speak, for what you have been experiencing this past week. As Lily said, we had the new moon last Sunday. We actually had the new moon while we were in class. And so there have been a lot of things going on. So if you have opened your records and had a struggle, if you've opened your records and had a great experience, if you haven't done anything at all, but you just have something you want to share, please feel free to open your mic or raise your hand, whatever, and let us know what's going on, because we really want to be in touch with you guys. 5, 4, 3. Okay, time's up. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, people.
And remember that really, however you're doing this program is perfect. I find so much synchronicities going on in my life as we're moving along in these programs. And Bonnie and I we learn so much from being with you and from exploring these concepts with you. And I get more and more about the concept of the quantum field. I've actually been looking and thinking about the quantum field and knowing about the quantum field for years, for many years. And I remember one of the first places that I learned about the quantum field was through Deepak Chopra, who I don't even listen to anymore. But that's one of the first places that I learned about the quantum field. And then, of course, in Theta Healing, I've worked a lot with the quantum field, because it's a dimension that I access a lot in order to draw in healing information and et cetera. And then as an alchemist, of course, where the quantum field is kind of like our playground, so to speak. We're pulling information and key codes and healing and light and all kinds of alchemy from the quantum field. And it's really there to help us literally design and create and architect the reality that we're experiencing here. So no matter how much I learn about it, I always feel like I'm learning more and experiencing more of it and getting better at utilizing the quantum field to my own benefit, meaning that I'm being able to access it more in order to really experience what I want to experience versus what I don't want to experience in an unconscious way. So, all right, Isaac, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi there.
So I am basically working on a certification of being a law of attraction coach.
Okay.
And I will use that in my modalities of wellness. I just wanted to hear you all's perspective on law of attraction, maybe the similarity or the differences and how it applies to the quantum field and Akashic records.
Awesome. That is definitely one for Bonnie, given that she's written the book on the universal laws.
Yeah, I love the law of attraction, but to me, it was always difficult for me to understand the law of attraction because it showed up at a time period where there wasn't a lot of information coming in about that, and it always seemed a little fuzzy to me. The law of attraction is nothing more than kind of describing the process of putting information into the quantum field and pulling information out of the quantum field. The law of attraction is very narrow in scope around the quantum field. So there's another law, it's a law of reflection, which talks about that the quantum field is always reflecting what you need back. But the law of attraction is more just that what you're putting out there, you are attracting. So it's kind of the first half of the law for me, that is what you're putting out into the world, you're attracting. But it's not as, for me, it doesn't have as much information as the quantum field as a whole. But I think it's really useful for people it's got such a wide audience. The law of attraction has such a wide audience that it's a great stepping stone for people into these conversations, right? It's out there. It's kind of its own little magnetic force out there bringing people into all of these conversations. And probably what you'll discover is you'll use the law of attraction to connect with people, and then you're going to go in and you're going to use your alchemy, because you're an alchemist.
Yeah.
You're an alchemist first, and a law of attraction coach is kind of just your
the doorway to have other people understand you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's awesome. Congratulations for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I got a couple of 2 cents about it, but I want to hear from Robin first.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
There.
I just wanted to make a comment. I actually opened the records today to look at the worksheet. And one of the things one of the things that stood out to me was awareness. And having that awareness that, what if I'm grumbling about something, or if I'm in a pleasant mood about something, and it seems that reflects back to me immediately. And just having that awareness, even if it's something as simple as not so much what I don't want, but manifesting a great parking space, for example. Every day when I go to the college, college campuses are known to be overcrowded and lack of parking or not so great parking. And I usually, when I get in the car, I know I'm going to get a great parking spot. And so far, I've gotten a great parking spot this semester. But I think the awareness for me is what is the most important thing that brings to light for the quantum field and what I'm putting out there. And how nice would it be to be neutral and not condemning or judgy, or, however you want to look at it when thinking about not necessarily what you don't want, but, focusing what is what you do want, whether it's in relationships or places or people or things, or it doesn't matter what it is.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Very nice. Well, you bring about a really good, I love your example of the parking lot, because, I think that's one of the places where we mostly begin to practice the law of attraction,
Mm-hmm.
Or creating what we want is with, things like creating a parking spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but it's a great example that I want to touch upon what Isaac has said as well. So I think one of the differences in what Bonnie was saying about, and how I heard what Bonnie was saying, the law of attraction is kind of incomplete. It only covers like part of the equation. And for me, how it only covers part of the equation is that the law of attraction seems to focus a lot of kind of vibration, whereas what Bonnie and I are always talking about and the quantum field is more based on frequency, which is like almost like this, let's say like it's like the speed of vibration. So I love the idea of the parking lot concept, because creating a parking spot, if you're focusing on creating a parking spot, you're trying to create, you're connecting with a broader, a very specific, let's say, vibration of a clear parking spot. But if you're connecting with the frequency of really what the idea of the parking spot is, more like ease and freedom around where you're going to end up, you know, how to get to your class and not have to walk for miles, or how not to be in an upset because you're not finding a parking spot. So it's more like the broader aspect of creating with that parking space is one of ease and grace versus envisioning an empty parking spot. So it's more like you're saying, a little bit more of an energy about it, right? It's that easiness about it, that, oh, well, yeah, of course I'm going to create a parking space, but it's coming from ease and grace versus from the image of a clear parking space. Does that make sense?
Right.
I think so, but how are you relating that to the quantum field?
So I think the quantum field, where it's most powerful, is for us to generate from the frequency of what we're trying to do. So for example, if you're connecting with the frequency of ease and grace, you're going to actually create a lot more in the quantum field than just a parking spot. Right. If you're connecting with the vibration of a parking spot, that's what you're going to connect with, is a parking spot. But really what we want out of the quantum field is not just a parking spot. We want ease and grace in everything in our life. So if we're able to connect with the frequency of what that is, that's how we can use the quantum field to create ease and grace in everything in our life, not just when we're arriving at college and finding that parking spot. Right?
Yeah. Well, and the last time I went to class, I ended up with a beautiful parking spot, but it was under a tree and it rained. So the tree actually left yellow spots all over my car.
All right.
So when I went to my car, I just looked at it, I said, really? So now I have to rework that such a scenario.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, right? So the ease and grace. So it's about being in the awareness of what you actually really want to create. Because a parking space, yeah, okay, so that's really cool. We found a parking space, but is that really what we want in our life, is a parking space? No. What we want is the freedom. What we want is the ability to flow and dance through our life and have that, you know, the beauty of it, the freeness of it, the joy of it, the grace in our life, you know, to be able to just go in and out of things without having to wait, without having to call on patients, without having to all of that stuff. So yeah, so that's beautiful. Great example, Robin.
Okay, right. Isaac, do you have something more on this conversation? I figured you probably. Go ahead, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, just briefly, it's I like all the information that I got, and I can definitely relate to everything that you were explaining, because as I was moving along through the course, which is I'm just about at the end, I was realizing, I said, some of these pieces of the equation, they are kind of leaving out. I can't say it's on purpose or whatnot, but and then it's like they touch on some of it, but it's not quite like they'll say, okay, you can create in the quantum field, but it's not giving you an explanation of what the quantum field is, how to work with it, or you'll get the law of deliberate creation, or the law of allowing, or you'll get all these different other laws. And it's like, once I started working with alchemy and I started working with the Akashic records and things, I said, oh, so this is a little bit more. And instead of saying creating from frequency, it's more, they will more so give you like creating from your feelings. So like making sure that you are watching what you feel. Say, okay, and how do I feel when I see something happen? And so, and then you're supposed to be creating from that space and making sure that, you know, you're not creating from lack and different things like that. So it was just good to hear like the different side of the spectrum, and in how you can put everything together. And it's definitely like saying like it's a starting point, but then getting into that. And I'm sure you all are familiar with Abraham Hicks, I would think, but that's where they take that stuff from.
Yeah, yeah.
So Isaac, I'm so glad you brought this up. And Eileen, I know you want to jump in here, and I do want to include you, but while this is fresh in my mind, as you are talking, here is the big difference with Abraham Hicks and the information that you're getting from Lily and I, and almost all of us are getting information from Karen Torres as well, which is a big thing, is that we are actually accessing our 11th and 12th chakra information. And so we are getting the information more fully, more completely, and we understand that part about emotions. Often emotions are another way of saying they can be of higher frequency, but most of the time the emotions that we're talking about when they're talking about the law of attraction is the low frequency emotions. And we understand that the low frequency emotions and those things are just things that we are in the process of moving out. So we don't ever want to work from them. We don't want to go, oh, I'm really sad, and so I want to acknowledge that I'm sad and I want to call in something more. We're like, oh, sadness, move that low frequency out. Let's alchemize it. Let's get rid of it and not even operate from that standpoint. So I love that you added those additional things, because as you were talking, I was like, oh yeah, watch those answers come in, that we are operating from a very different place. And what we always want to remember, for all of us that do this work, and anyone who works with Lily and I, we get told this on a regular basis as well, is that we only want to work with people who have information at our level and above. We don't want to, go and do a program with somebody who has less information than we do. And I certainly am not speaking about it from a judgment point of view, but more from a discernment, that there are people that are not accessing their 11th and 12th chakra information. And so they're not who you want to go to get great information from. Does that make sense? Okay, so, all right, Eileen, go ahead, pop in.
I had an instance this week. I just lost my temper. Doesn't happen very often. I was just royally pissed off, and I let people know about it. And as soon as it was out of my mouth, I went, oh, yeah, no. Got out my crystals and my toothbrush, and I'm over there washing my quantum field, getting that stuff out of there. I did not want it coming back on me. I mean, I just cleaned that sucker up immediately. And I started to laugh afterwards, and because I said, I apologize for what I said, but boy, did I have to get that out of there quick, because I was like, oh, if that comes back on me, I'm going to be slimed. That's all.
I can't imagine you getting angry. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, I do.
It's a great question. Like, getting angry, is that putting something into the quantum field?
Yeah, pretty much what I said, put a lot into the quantum field. So, yeah,
I needed to talk a little bit about that.
I needed to clean it up really quickly before it started to come back.
That's funny. Robin says, I can imagine Eileen getting mad.
Yeah. Doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine it does.
Well, and it's really powerful. It's so powerful to know, to be conscious and aware that you're actually miscreating when you're moving into those low frequencies, because everything that comes out of our mouth, everything that comes out through our thoughts, our actions, everything, all our interactions, everything we say, everything we do, everything we think is putting out frequencies and actually creates material, in our space, in our quantum field, internally and externally. So when you can catch yourself and say, oh my gosh, because yes, you are. And that's also the way that we create karma, is because we are constantly creating an experience in our life, and it's either going to be a low frequency experience or a high frequency experience. And so if you're directing that anger towards someone, you're creating anger with them. And it's so beautiful to be able to catch yourself and, like you said, clean it up. Because as you clean it up, then you're handling the karma. And you could actually, as you catch yourself, you could say, oh, wow, I want to not only clean that up, but I want to clear all that karma, and I want to clear the agreements. I don't even need to know the agreements, but gosh, if I need to see what those agreements are, let me see them, because maybe there's a teaching in those agreements as I clear them, clearing that karma, and then allow yourself to be receiving the light and receiving the wisdom and bring in those high frequencies. And that's what alchemy does. And that's what connecting with the Akashic Records does. And any kind of healing work that you do is that you're allowing yourself to bring in those higher frequencies. And that's what alchemy is. It's bringing in high frequencies to alchemize those low frequencies. So what's the high frequency that you bring in when you want to alchemize anger? You don't just get rid of anger, although that's what it ultimately looks like, is that we got rid of it. But what we're really doing is alchemizing it. We're not saying, hey, we're not allowed to be angry. No, yes, okay, I'm angry. So now let me alchemize that low frequency by bringing in love, bringing in compassion, bringing in joy, bringing in understanding, bringing in forgiveness. And as you bring in those high frequencies, that low frequency of anger and all those other low frequencies that accompany anger, like resentment and frustration, and because usually those low frequencies don't hang out by themselves. They're usually accompanied by other ones. There
was a crowd. There was definitely a crowd going on.
Exactly. They hang out in crowds. So then we just got to bring in the arsenal. We got to bring in the love. We got to bring in the joy. We got to bring in the compassion, the forgiveness. And a lot of times it's the compassion for ourselves to understand that, hey, we're a human being. We have a personality. You know, that's what personalities do. Personalities get angry, but that's not the truth of who we are. The truth of who we are is not our personality. The truth of who we are is our essence. Our beautiful essence has no way of experiencing anger. So we can allow our essence to bring in the light and bring in the love and alchemize all of that. So, and that's great when you can catch it, because then you don't have to deal with it later on and wait for it to, yeah. Because we don't want it to start creating miasms and, you know, all kinds of other crazy things. Cool.
Thank you.
For sure. For sure. And that's actually, if anybody else wants to jump in, you can absolutely raise your hand. But that is one of our jumping off points about creating what we don't want. I wanted to share with you an experience that I've had, because I know somebody who has been asking me to clear their house of low frequencies and of pain and of fear and just lots of different things. And they are asking me probably, or I should say were asking me, haven't asked me in a little while, were asking me on a fairly regular basis, can you look at my house? Can you clean my house? Can you see if there's anything there? And it was kind of like, I don't even pay that much attention to my own house. So why am I paying this much attention to your house? And so when I ask the question, almost eventually I do get an answer from somewhere out there. And so what I realized was that she and her husband get very angry with each other, and they get really nasty and have kind of knockdown, drag out fights where they end up saying a ton of things that, you know, they may mean, they might not mean, but they are constantly throwing anger out into their house. And so what is happening is they're busy creating, you know, miasms and creating more fear and more pain, and it's all of us having more of an awareness around atheist energy. Now, keep in mind as a sidebar that atheist energy is believing that energy isn't real. And I think all of us have times when we bump into atheist energy where we're like, oh, really? Like, how much of a difference could it really make that I am saying this out there? And I just want to let you know I'm having more and more awareness about how much difference it actually does make. And if you're throwing it out there, there is definitely something being created at all times. And so I've watched them create this really ugly atmosphere, and it really, their house really did need cleaning up, as well as how they interacted with each other and coming into more awareness around their own conversations. But it's really important for us to just have some more awareness around the words that we use and the things that we throw out. If you're one of those people who says, kind of like smart-ass comments, and I don't mean smart-ass to be funny, but smart-ass, and it's like a little curveball to like slap somebody or to be kind of nasty. You all, I'm sure, are aware of those kinds of sentences that we use. But it's those types of things that we say that when we throw them out there, we are literally throwing out an energetic blob that we have to go and clean up. And sometimes we can even be using words where I have another friend who says, oh, I love you. And I'm like, whoa, because sometimes when she says it, it's like a slap across my face. And there is absolutely no love involved in the statement, I love you. And so we want to be more aware of those kinds of things when we say them. And it's the intention behind it. It's the thing behind it that we really want to look at. It's not necessarily the content of the words. Although, to be honest with you, if you say the word fuck you to somebody and you do mean that as a curse, they're definitely going to feel it. Am I getting in trouble for that?
Yes, we're going to have a talk later, Bonnie.
I don't think anybody, the SCSC, the SEC, whatever it is, they're not monitoring our conduct.
The SEC. You're so funny, Bonnie. That's the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Also, the college football.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, the football one.
It's so true, though. One of the things that I used to say years ago that I used to say a lot, and I think a lot of people say this, I haven't said it in years, but I used to say, I can't afford that. I used to say that all the time. And then one day I realized, oh my God, every time I say I can't afford that, I'm telling the quantum field that I can't get that thing because I can't afford it. I'm literally telling the quantum field that I won't ever be able to have that thing or own that thing or have that thing in my life because I can't afford it. And it was such a definitive sentence for me, half the time I didn't even consider looking at my bank account. It was automatic to say, I can't afford that. And I haven't said that for years and years. I literally had to discipline myself and say, no more. I am not saying that phrase ever again. And I haven't said it for years. And I don't really remember a time that I haven't been able to afford something that I really wanted, and I'm by no means wealthy at all, but I don't remember ever having, like, if I really want something, I'm going to go get it. And that's the change of my thinking that occurred for me. If I really want something, I'm going to go get it. I'm not even consider whether I can afford it or not. That's kind of like irrelevant. It just became irrelevant whether I could afford it or not. So, but it is really interesting. Another thing I shared on in the newsletter that we went out, I wrote a little thing about the, because we had a Tuesday night call recently about the quantum field, and I had recently caught myself saying things like, oh, that's not going to work out. And when you say something like that to the quantum field listens to you and says, oh, okay, well, I guess it's not going to work out, So it's really interesting to be able to catch that. That's how we're creating the things that we don't want. It's almost unconscious because we keep saying things and we're not aware of the power of what we're saying. We're not aware that the words that we're speaking are carrying a frequency. That frequency is literally like turning the knob on the radio. And if you're turning the knob on the radio to, I can't afford that, that's what you're going to hear, that you can't afford it. And that's what's going to come back to you. You can't turn the knob on the radio to 103.9 and get 101.9. You're going to get 103.9. So you got to tune into the right place and be conscious of what you're tuning into through your words, through your thoughts, through your actions. And that's
it is absolutely that sensitive, Isaaca, because you're just like, it's that sensitive? Yes, it is absolutely that sensitive. I'm curious if anybody else has phrases that they used to say they've caught themselves saying like Lily was just talking about, if you have any other ones. I had one and it just zipped out of my head.
Yeah. Well, someone else might be raising their hand. I do want to say something about that. Is it that sensitive? I think from some of the information that I've gotten is that it's become more sensitive over the last few years as our frequency has gone up, and through all the support that we're receiving cosmically, it has become that much more sensitive. We are becoming that much more powerful and that much more of having that much more of an influence on our quantum field. And that's because we're becoming more aware. And so it has become much, much more sensitive.
Yeah, and I would even take it one step further, that it is our awareness of it has brought in more understanding. So it's always been there, but most of us have been very unconsciously moving through the world and not very clear. And I mean, I can remember my mom saying things like, if you say that's what's going to happen. And I was like, shh, that kind of thing. But there are some old wives' tales that support that. And Isaac, I see you like calling people names and that you can't afford that. Yeah, those kinds of things that we say about people, the phrases that we use about people, are also really important, because it's like it reinforces that thinking that keeps us stuck, in this is how it is, this is how it's supposed to be, or, that kind of stuck thinking we don't want to have. So,
yeah,
for sure. You want to go into the records and see what we find?
Let's do it.
Right.
Okay.
I was just like, what does that mean? Oh, dear.
Hi, Bonnie. You're so cute.
Oh,
All
you're
right,
in charge. This is yours. Go for it.
We're going to go into the first question. I'm just curious to see, too. You could just raise your hand and we won't call on you, but or if you want to share. Curious to see if anybody is using the workbook, if anybody did the workbook, and if you got anything out of it, you could just put something in the chat. That'd be really cool. What I did was we went into the workbook, and then Bonnie and I selected a question out of the workbook that is a little bit, kind of like off of there, but a little bit more generic. So we're going to look at an aspect of our life, or let's just talk in the first person. In what aspect of my life am I creating more of something that I don't want? So an example of that would be, I remember when I was 17 years old and I had my heart broken for the first time. I've had my heart broken a couple of times, but I remember when I had my heart broken the first time when I was 17, it was so painful. And I said, I will never, ever, ever have my heart broken ever again. And how that translated into reality, into the quantum field, was that I just would never love so deeply again, and so that was what I created. And I think that for a lot of people, that's money, finance, and health are I think the three top areas where we miscreate through the words that we're saying. If we have a condition, a physical condition, we might say, I'll never be healthy again, or I'll never find love again, or I'll never be able to afford the things that I really want. And we say these things, we say them so definitively, like we really think that that's the definity of it. So I think that we're all kind of savvy about what that area is, but how are we? So in what aspect am I creating more of something that I don't want? And how am I doing that? And you could even go beyond that and say, what can I do to turn that around? What can I do to stop, or to stop myself from miscreating more of something that I don't want? So of course, as always, you can you can ask whatever question that you like that is associated with anything that you're creating or miscreating in your life. But we thought that this would be a cool one to just get warmed up here on the first round. So Bonnie's going to put up the pathway prayer for us. And then I'll lead us through it, and then Bonnie will take the share screen off. I'll put one of our pictures up, and then we'll give you 3 minutes, and Bonnie's going to do the timer. All right. There's just so much love here for us to move into this space. It's such a beautiful space. I want to remind everyone what a magical place the Akashic realm is and how supported we are by the beings of light that are here, the masters, teachers, and loved ones that are here to guide us, the council of souls, as we also like to call them, those beings of light that have been with us since we were born as a soul and born into this lifetime, helping us to create our relationships, our experiences, and guiding us and helping us along the way. And they have no judgment. They don't judge us. They don't ever put us down. They don't in any way at all have us feel fear or scared or unworthy in any way. They're so full of compassion and love for us. And it's a beautiful place for us to enter in and be enveloped in love and compassion and just beauty. So absolute beauty. So let's all take a deep breath and connect with our heart. And you can do this with your eyes closed or with your eyes open. It doesn't matter. And right now we're bringing in some clearing for the channels. So Bonnie, I'm just seeing some rainbow light coming in for everybody's channels. We're going to clear channels, clearing for everyone so that you can see and you can hear and you can know what there is for you to know. So clearing the channels, I'm seeing a lot of spirals, a lot of rainbow light, a lot of gold white light also coming through from your upper chakras into the entire chakra system, and also just clearing your telepathic channels, your clairvoyance channels, clairaudience channels, and especially your clairsentient and also your clairvoyant, your claircognizant channels. All around in this quantum field, this internal quantum field and the external quantum field that is around you, opening up for you now so that you can have access to it, allowing yourself to really connect with your wisdom and your truth. So let's take a deep breath and read along with me. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth, as it is revealed for us in our highest good and in the highest good of everyone connected to us. Good deep breath. O Holy Spirit of God, protect me from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Good deep breath. Help me to know myself in the light of the Akashic records, to see myself through the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of me have for me. And I will go back and read this 2 more times, replacing myself and me with your legal name in silence. And when you're done, you'll say the records are now open. We're asking our masters, teachers, and loved us to help us see what aspect of our life we're creating more of what we don't want, and how can we turn that around and see the way to create what we do want. So we can start the timer.
get that? That I was actually talking and I was muted?
Yes.
30 seconds. Mhm. And that's 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and
Yeah.
close the records. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the lords of the Akashic Records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. All right.
So I just want to let you guys know that I was actually I had a crisis over here that I was handling, which is why I didn't see that I had actually not taken myself off of mute. But as a result of that issue, I asked for special gifts to come in for all of us to have more clarity around the words that we speak and the knowing that when we speak, we are creating. And it's a really particular, it's like a really fine point here that, like, it's kind of like we all understand, yeah, we're creating things as we speak, but it's like a finer discernment about when we speak that we are really truly powerful creators and understanding just how powerful we are. So it's a really beautiful gift that is being given to us, and it's coming in the top of our heads, and there's information that's actually coming in. And to me, it's like the base of the skull, like the brain stem. So
yes, and it's a violet color. I can see it. It's a violet color, and it has some sapphire blue tones to it and gold specks. It's beautiful. Thank you, Bonnie.
Yes, sure. Okay, so stop sharing. So what do you all have to share? Now that I've stopped sharing, what do you have to share?
Well, I'll share while someone else raises their hand. Oh, wait, go ahead, Isaaca.
Okay. My cat has jumped in, and I feel like Dr. Claw with his cat. Right? Cat. He's leaving now, so that's good. What I got something that I wasn't expecting to get, because I said, oh yeah, I just know they're going to talk about money. And no, that's not what they talked about. They talked about, I've been getting written about wisdom. And they said that I am in fear of my own wisdom. So I guess I'm creating more fear of my own wisdom. And because I've been like isolating myself and acting like I don't know something, or reframing from passing information, I guess, is what's creating more of something that I don't want. And then to answer the question of what I can do, I shook hands with several gold hands. It's like several like satin gold hands, and I just shook hands with that and filled like with diamonds and different things. And so I asked, okay, so what are all these gold hands? And it was supposed to be shaking the hands of souls that are collaborating with me. I guess collaborating with me to be successful, I guess, through sharing wisdom, if I'm interpreting that. That's how I'm interpreting it thus far.
Yeah, that's cool. That resonates. And it totally resonates, because I very much can see where you've been afraid of your own information and your own wisdom. So, and that's cool that it was a surprise to you. Usually when I got a surprise message too, which I wasn't expecting, and So when you get something that is a surprise like that, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's coming from your guides, your masters, teachers, and loved ones. So that's awesome, Isaaca. Yeah. So it's time to step into your power and step into your wisdom and share your wisdom. Be confident in your wisdom. Connect with your information. Know that you're a powerful source of information for yourself. Your essence is there to support you and provide information to you. So receive it. Allow yourself to receive it. Open your heart to your own information. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I got that too. They also said open your heart. Yeah.
Yes, I could see that. Yeah, cool. All right, Eileen.
Yes, it's me. I went in and I had opened my records earlier today to get the information because I wasn't really sure about what I was creating that I didn't want. And when I went back in and asked, it was pretty much, well, you know the answer to that because we told you that. Yes, you did. I am obviously focusing so much attention on my husband's health issues and his inability to travel and to go places and to do things and to move around and do all of the things that we've always done. And by focusing that, I'm putting it out in the field. So what I'm getting back is more of the same. And when I asked what I could do to change that, they told me I should focus on how great it will be when this passes and he's able to do everything he wants freely and without restriction or pain. Envision him that way and keep and hold that in your heart and mind.
Wow. That's beautiful.
That's a huge shift, Eileen. Something that you probably didn't even pay attention to at all.
No, I didn't. I really didn't.
Yeah.
No.
You know what's
out
really
of compassion that I think about him that way, that I feel so badly for him that he can't do, that I'm just creating more of it, piling it on. So, yeah.
Well, what's really beautiful about that, Eileen, is that I have a similar situation that involves my youngest son. And it's more about what I keep putting out there, which is, when is he going to get his act together? When is he going to finally, get his life together? When is he going to grow up? When is he going to be independent? When is he going to really be able to live on his own, et cetera, et cetera? And I have come a long way with that because I used to worry a lot more about him, but now I'm not worrying as much about him. And, but what you're saying is something that came up for me as I was opening the records is, well, if we're creating our own experience through what we're putting into the quantum field, is it possible that we're creating someone in our life's experience through what we're putting into our quantum field? But it has to do with someone else's experience, like what you just shared about your husband, right? It's your husband's health.
Yeah.
How are you creating more of your husband's lack of health in your own quantum field? That's just like such an interesting question to look at. Interesting thing to look at, because it's like, well, what does it have to do with me? It's his quantum field. What does that have to do with my quantum field, right? And so,
Did you get the answer?
Yes, that was just so beautiful what you thought, Eileen. And I think this really is for all of us that are on this call right now, is to really look and see what experience are you creating in your quantum field, which is all of our quantum field, through how you are experiencing someone in your life. Because remember, everyone that's in our life is here for us through our own agreement. So if we look at what that agreement, so in your case, Eileen, and in my case with my son, it's like, what is the agreement that I've made to be in a relationship, to have a son, to have a husband that is challenged in some particular way? What's my agreement, and what is it that I need to learn? Because once you get the teaching, then you can move on. Like once you get the teaching, Eileen, your husband's going to get better. And it's really hard for us to understand how that it's up to us how someone else is occurring in our life. That's like a hard one to wrap our arms around.
Yeah, that is. It's kind of like,
Yes. But it's just so beautiful to look at that, you know? So that could be a great question for you to ask is, what is the teaching that I am supposed to have by having a husband that has physical health issues? And for me too, what's my teaching? And I have asked it, I have gotten a lot of answers. And as I get those answers and then I get that teaching, I just like remove another layer of it, and then he improves in some way. I get the teaching, he improves. Wow, it's like magic.
That's the whole idea of it, that it is our experience. We are having our experience, and it's wrapping your head around the idea that it is always our experience, it's not their experience. So Eileen, you're having your own experience around whatever Dick is going through. And as soon as you resolve it, yeah, it absolutely disappears. I learned that with David always throwing clothes on the floor. Such a simple thing. Like,
I learned that too. I threw them out.
why does that annoy me so much? And when I discovered that it had to do with me and wanting things in their place and having, you know, a place for everything, and it just felt so disrespectful, that I shifted it, and he literally stopped doing it. And it was just like, isn't that interesting how I couldn't have explained it to you, but he literally stopped. So yeah, it's an awesome awareness. Thank you.
Yeah. So in that case, you have an agreement. David had an agreement with you to throw his clothes around so you could get something for yourself. And then once you got it for yourself, he didn't have to do that anymore. So great. I love it.
It is absolutely awesome. So does anybody have anything else they want to share on that Akashic Records opening? Go ahead, Robin.
I'm kind of confused with what I got. I'm not quite sure how it fits or makes sense. And basically, I just narrowed the question down to how am I creating what I don't want? And what came through was thoughts without actions are just thoughts. No action is creating what we want or don't want. Focus is intention dedicated to outcome. Without focus, your creativity doesn't exist. If you're not creating, you're creating what you don't want. So it just seemed like a riddle of words to me, actually.
It was actually a riddle of words for me until your last two lines. And only because I know you. Because what do you hear creating? What is your creative process?
Are you well, I mean, I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean what I do, or do you mean
what do you do to create? How do you create?
Everything I do, I create.
But what is your special gift?
Well, of course, the music.
So to me, that is about say the last two lines again, the last two.
Without focus, your creativity does not exist. If you are not creating, you're not creating, or are you creating what you don't want?
Right. So for me, it's about when you are creating, when you are at the piano, when you are doing that which you love, everything is unfolding and you are creating stuff. And it is for you, it's a very active process. Like to me, that message is all about you and playing music. It's not about you and creating, with a relationship with your kids or the relationship that you want or any of that other stuff. To me, that just shows up as your relationship with the piano. And when you're sitting down creating, you are absolutely creating, and you're not creating the things that you don't want. You are creating more of what you do want, particularly because you have those magic fingers.
Well, something that comes up for me as I'm listening to Bonnie too is that, and especially when Bonnie said, what is your gift? And what I'm really getting, that message for me is really a powerful message for you, Robin, that you can actually create by focusing on the creative magic of music. In other words, you could bake a cake and put in the musical creative energy of it, and that cake will be like freaking out of this world because you're using the creative magic of music to bake that cake. And it feels to me like it's really a beautiful thing for all of us because we all have our own little special gifts, right? And if we utilize that gift as a power, we can use it as a tool to create whatever we want because it's something that really aligns with our soul. And in your case, it's a really obvious gift because you're a pianist. And so if you align with the magic of that, the music of that gift that you have, and then you focus that musical magic into anything else you want to create, you will create magic in that other thing, just like you create magic on the piano. And I think that that's a really beautiful message for all of us to use our gift and to, it's like, you know, they always teach us to emphasize our gifts and de-emphasize what is not our gifts. So if we really took and heightened the gifts that we do have, and we all have them, and then put that into everything that we're creating, we would be that much more powerful of a creator. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's just strange the way it came out, and I kept looking, going, this doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, that's because it needed Bonnie and my like input in there so that we could have this conversation. If you got it, then you wouldn't be sharing it the way that you were, and maybe we wouldn't got what we got. And then it really is for all of us to really understand how we can be more powerful creators by tapping into our special gifts. And, you know, like I could see like the areas that you want to create. And if you're creating with them through the magic of your music, oh my God, it's like you could just gonna heighten your creative power all around every aspect of your life.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay, Robin, you got to bake us a cake now. She's actually a really good cook. So, all right, Robin, no pressure.
Hey, Tracy, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
When you were talking about music, I wasn't going to say anything, but the what keeps coming to me is, do you know, you ever see the original the Broadway show of A Chorus Line, or the musical, the music from it? Well, that song,
Yeah.
Nothing, keeps coming up. Every time I try to go in and get something from the records, I keep hearing that song about that person that's just not getting, you know, what they're supposed to be getting, and they're feeling nothing. And that's kind of how I feel when I'm doing this.
Yeah. And it, to me, the energy shows up, and it actually showed up back when we first started opening the records, and I could see that energy showing up. And so for me, it's a chicken or an egg conversation, with whether you are, whether there's an issue there or whether you're looking for an issue, right? So it's like, which one is happening? Is there an issue there, or are you looking for an issue? And I was moving the low frequencies and moving the unworthiness piece. It's like, oh, there must be something wrong with me that I can't do that. But Lily, do you have any other perspective on it?
Well, I think that this is significant that in getting that song Nothing, you're getting something. That's huge. Okay. It's by getting that song Nothing. And I don't know that play, that musical, but how does it end, Tracy? I don't know, I've never seen it, but can you tell me how it ends?
Well, it's just about a bunch of dancers, and they all bring something to the performance, but they all have different stories to tell. It's not one story line. It's about each individual and their story of how they got to become a chorus line dancer.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, they all get, just the final ending, but it's about their lifetimes and their relationships and their struggles with love and jobs and just everyday frustrations.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's really significant. I think that's significant because you're going through a huge transition in your own life where you're coming up against all the challenges that you've had, the different places in your life where you've had struggles and you're coming up with challenges. But I think that the fact that you're getting this line of a song in a play, that's a musical, and it ends up just being a beautiful work of art, a Broadway play. I think that that's really significant, Tracy. And I think that it just demonstrates a lesson for you, a teaching for you to hang in there and be patient and trust that your essence has like a major chorus line in show for you and in store for you. And just keep showing up and keep facing all the challenges and keep sharing all the challenges and the struggles that you've had, and find that community just like you are doing, and keep trusting. And I think that's a really huge message. So you're not getting nothing, you're getting something really, really huge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And Tracy, really, that reminds me of, I had an opportunity to be with Karen for a few minutes today, and we were talking about our soul and like when information doesn't come in, because I am always the person who is saying like, I just want to hear, I just want to be very clear about my hearing. And she says, be careful what you wish for. And also remember that our soul is in charge of all of it. And so there are times when I hear very clearly, and then there are times when I couldn't hear something to save my life. And it is for us to understand that it is a soul decision. That is absolutely awesome that you got that information. And it reminds me that we don't all get the information in the exact same way. And we often don't get it the way we thought we would get it. Lily, you might remember who it was. I don't. The person who was like, oh, I thought they were going to be talking in like a big booming voice. And we're like, no, that they could be singing to you. They could literally be just singing to you to give you messages. So beautiful. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. That's very encouraging, Tracy. Absolutely. Woohoo!
And Eileen popped in there about her cousin, that her cousin used to get music references all the time when she started. And there have been other people who have been all about music. So good job.
Yeah.
All right, Lily, what would you like to do here?
Let's pop in another question. Come on, we got time.
Okay. All right, so we are going to, this is Reader's Choice. We're going to give you a suggestion for what to ask. What breakthrough is possible for me as I begin to relate to the quantum field as a powerful tool. What is available there, but please feel free to ask whatever might work for you. Like Tracy, you may want to ask, is this a way for me to connect with my records? Do I need to start learning every show tune that's ever been created? But whatever you would like to ask, please feel free to ask it. And let's go ahead and let's go ahead and open the records. Take a deep breath in. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth, as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God, protect me from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know myself in the light of the Akashic Records, to see myself through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of me have for me. Go back and read it 2 more times quietly to yourself using your full legal name. The records are now open. I'm going to let you share your screen, Lily. And once again, what breakthrough is possible? Or what is a specific breakthrough I can make relating to the quantum field? How can I use the quantum field as a powerful tool? What's there for me? And we'll go for 3 minutes.
Twenty seconds. Okay, that's time.
Literally, that's time. I could hear that one. Come on, come on. There we go.
Let's go ahead and close the records. Boy, I got a doozy of information. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the Lords of the Akashic Records for their point of view. And I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. The records are now closed. Amen. I'm sorry, Bonnie, you were supposed to do that.
Totally okay.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Let's be intentional on sharing because we only have 7 minutes left before showtime's over. But
and heavens, if we went over. Go ahead, Robin. I love
Okay.
watching people find the unmute button.
I know, it's like follow, it's like an eye exam. Follow the. All right. So my question was, of course, I followed along the lines, what breakthrough is possible for me working with the quantum field. This is what I got. The world, the cosmos, the infinity of outcome is possible with a single idea or thought to start the process. You have already accessed this gift, this ability, as it is your inherited piece that you've forgotten. As you awaken to the endless possibilities and become aware, it is truly a conscious choice until it isn't. And you realign to your soul, to source, and all the magic that is readily available for the asking.
Wow. Wow.
Kind of makes up the puzzled words before.
Wow. I got something very similar.
Rosanna's not here. Rosanna's not here, so Robin, you need to step up and be the poet for the night. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
Made up for the riddle from earlier.
I loved your riddle earlier.
Mm-hmm. It was very good. Okay, Isaaca.
So they kind of blew my mind over here. I used to be in like marching band, and I also was on flag corps. And so I love creating music, and then one of my favorite things is drumming. So, but anyway, to get to the point of what they said into the question, the first thing that's coming is working with the three fates and trusting my role and learning more about who I truly am. And then it showed me, it says go dancing. So it showed me dancing, and particularly doing more dancing. I do like to move my feet. I just don't always like to dance in front of people. But I do like to move my feet and have my feet planted to the earth and do native and traditional dance. And then it showed me drumming and going back to drumming. And so I was like, what? Do you really want me to drum? My hands lit up with infinity eights, and I started actually playing the congos and
Awesome.
doing the staccato. And I love congos and drums and things. So that's why my mind is blown, like, wow, you really want me to go do that? Okay, I gotta find me a group or something.
Wow.
Yeah, that is totally awesome. Totally awesome. I love that.
Yes, I love that too. Thanks for sharing that, Isaaca.
And I see that Dan has had some difficulties getting into his records and connecting with us, but I just wanted to point that out in case anybody didn't happen to see that. Is there anybody else who'd like to share? Looked like Eileen was going to. She had that look. Eileen's like shaking her head. Okay. Lily, you want to tell us what you got? What you got? Oh my goodness. Let's stop saying what I got.
Yeah. What the information that I was receiving is very similar to what Robin got. But for me, it was also, I got a very powerful message that I'm not using the power of the quantum field, that I have really mastered miscreating, but that I'm not creating like, big time, and that it's really, really there for me to be more intentional about creating magic and creating breakthroughs and really going big, and I got that image of go big or go home. That's what the quantum field is telling me, like, go big or go home, girl. All right. But they were really acknowledging me for getting better about not miscreating so much crap.
That's really powerful to know that you're like moving in the right direction. I heard gangbusters, go like gangbusters. That's what I heard as you were starting to talk. So I'm happy to be on that bus with you.
Yeah, for sure.
However big it is and whoever we happen to be taking with us. So I think it's been an amazing evening, and I really would love to encourage all of you to do a little bit more in your records, whether you actually sit down and open the records properly and close the records, or whether you just sit down and start journaling, on what more there is for you to get from the quantum field, that kind of information. Just play with it and have fun, because this really is an opportunity to get some great information, but also just to have some fun and start to connect with it. The more we do that, the more we are giving our permission to get more information. So in the last minute, I do want to let you guys know that our Tuesday night phone call is going to be Ask Your Essence. And we're going to be talking about soul agreements. And that one is going to be really entertaining and fun. If you listened last week, you know that people were asking a lot about agreements and really wanted more information about them. So feel free to write down some ideas. And then Lily and I are going to be doing a special webinar. It's probably going to run about a half an hour about helping people understand the power of their chakra system. And we're doing this so that more people understand how important it is to heal your chakras, to know about clearing them and replacing them and having them go up in frequency. And so that is going to be on Tuesday, September 5th at noon. And we're going to put the link in Facebook, and we'll also give it to you elsewhere. It's not so much for you guys, although you are always welcome to attend. It's for people you may know who really want to know about chakras or have questions about things, and it's an opportunity for them to get some more information about that. So we will put those links up for you. We certainly love and appreciate you guys endlessly. We started with it, so we'll definitely finish. Lily?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all for being here. We wish you a phenomenally and extraordinarily beautiful week, and we'll see you next Sunday. Good night, everyone.
Good night.